Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 2 of season 2 of Star Wars Rebels, called The Lost Commanders. And I was kind of lukewarm to this episode. It was certainly nice to see Wolf and Gregor and Rex again. And, kind of good to know that they didn't turn on the Jedi. Uh, and definitely a lot of nice nods to the events of Order 66. But for the most part, after that sort of stuff happens, we're mostly focused on a reenactment of the end of Jaws, with them hunting the sandworm because the clones want food. I mean, talk about padding things out. Anyway, let's just get right into things. So getting into things, one thing I do have to say is I definitely did enjoy the modified walker that the clones are living in. If you look at it closely, you can see it's meant as a bit of a nod to the castle from the animated film Howl's Moving Castle, which I have seen once years ago, so I don't remember a lot of the details. But as soon as I saw that, it's like, oh, it's definitely a shout out to Howl's Moving Castle. So, very cool points on that. Again, nice use of Star Wars continuity, bringing back Rex and Gregor. Wolf is a character who I don't remember too clearly, but I mean, he is vaguely familiar to me. I just don't remember exactly some of the stuff that he did. Gregor, he had that very memorable episode, 2 episodes where he was sort of the focus, and of course Rex was a regular on Clone Wars. So definitely kind of cool to see those guys again. The only thing that really bothered me there was that these guys apparently removed the chips in their head before Order 66, but were never given any explanation as to why, which seems kind of important to me, especially considering how the clones were literally made to be loyal. Apparently they weren't made to resist Alzheimer's though, because well, look at what happened to poor Gregor. He's not all right in the head there. But age does funny things to people. So um, it was also nice really seeing Canaan's feelings kind of come to the front here. I mean, they never really say the words Order 66, but it's obvious what everybody's talking about. We find out that it's really made very clear what happened to, yeah, how did you say her name? Deepa Biolba, or whatever, that she was killed by the clones in Order 66. Now, this is a very different fate than what happened to her in the previous expanded universe, but she didn't exactly suffer a great fate there, so I would actually say dying trying to saving her Padawan is actually preferable here. And points to Rex that he doesn't he's very upfront with, like, yeah, Kanan's right to feel that way. His feelings are justified. Now, I think that this is really a situation that really calls for him to sit down with Kanan. I mean, to really sit down with Ezra and spell out very clearly what happened with Order 66. And ideally, he might want to do this with Hera there, because as she said in this episode, the clones saved her life during the Clone Wars. That way Ezra can kind of get both sides of the story in regards to the clones. Now, I don't think, as far as I know, that what happened with Hera getting her life saved by clones during the Clone Wars has ever been spelled out in the new continuity. I imagine that will happen someday. The only thing I really know about what was going on with Hera's family during the Clone Wars is one of the recent novels really, really heavily implied, I think it flat out said, that her father was no. Her father was actually fighting against the Empire. Yes. Now I remember correctly. Yeah, Lords of the Sith. That her father actually had been also fighting against the Empire, if I remember right. Sorry, it's It's been a little while since I read that book, even though it's still a fairly new one. So let's see what else. Um, we also get to see that Agent Kallus is on the case, and smartly, just because the clones are a little nuts, he just doesn't dismiss whatever they have to say out of hand. Of course, given the situation that he has with Darth Vader right by him, he really can't afford to leave any stone unturned. And if he's somebody who really understands his job as well as he should, I think he would acknowledge that, yes, sometimes good information can come from people who are normally unreliable. Now, with all that said, though, it does go back to the whole thing with, they show up there wanting help from the clones, and then it becomes get the clones food in the dumbest way possible. I mean, really, it would have been that much harder to just sort of have some food delivered to the clones. I mean, do you think they would have been at least offered that? It's like, no, let's go and basically use bait as Zeb for a giant sandworm. It's like, oh man, really? Just, I mean, that whole let's kill the giant worm thing. I mean, never mind the fact that Canaan, I think as a Jedi, should have a little bit more respect for life than kill an animal to get what you want. Then again, he's not exactly been adhering super close to the Jedi code lately. But yeah, kill an animal so that you can have something to bribe somebody with. That's Now, what's going to happen with these guys next week? Well, I think it'd be kind of cool if they came on as sort of advisors towards the rebellion. I mean, they have a very, very experienced military guys. I mean, well, Gregor might not be the best choice. If you could kind of maybe he'd be a little bit more lucid if he was getting regular medical treatment. But somebody like Rex could be invaluable as an advisor. So I think that would be kind of a cool way to do that, and give those clones a little bit of a way to, in a way, atone for what the other clones did by helping the rebellion. And I think that would also be a good way to sort of for them to bury the hatchet with Canaan. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about this episode. Not a bad episode, but certainly not as strong as the previous one. So, with that said, guys, we're going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi. Until next time, take care and have a good one.